Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Girls Frontline 2, we now have the entire kit for Lewis, which includes the numbers. So I thought we'd go ahead and take a look at it and kind of give my thoughts at the end. Now we've already taken a look at the original kit without like the numbers or heavy details. So this is going to include everything as well as her weapon. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I always like to start with the passive here, and this is kind of be like the foundation of how she works. If you remember, she has kind of like that summon she assigns to your other burn units. So right here it says, at the start of battle, Lewis gains heat transfer and consumes all points of her Confectance Index to assign Fumos with a rank 1 to the closest burn attribute dials. So that's the one thing, it's only 2 of your burn dials that get it and not all of them. So that kind of changes things up a little bit. You could potentially use her in a multi-element team where you have the 2 burn units that they are going to get assigned to, and then maybe 2 other elements that might synergize with them. You then have here, when allied units with Fumos perform basic attacks or active attacks that deal burn damage, she will command the Fumos to also launch a salvo attack at the target, and then they gain 3 Blaze and 1 Confectance Index. This effect can be triggered once per turn for each Fumo, so you have 2 out there, so you can trigger it twice effectively. And so she gains Blaze. So Blaze up here is increases by 3 when Fumo performs a salvo triggered by her assigned doll. Used to charge heat transfer. And heat transfer uses Blaze as a value counter. When Blaze reaches 35 stacks, consumes all of the Blaze and applies afterburners to all units. And if we remember this, I think we've seen this part in the original kit. Afterburners increases the burn damage dealt by 30% and permanently increases crit damage by 5%. Considered a burn buff and cannot be dispelled. So very specific to burn. And so, while we will see here in a little bit, you can kind of use her with other elemental teams, she still is very tied to the burn team because of that. And then when the unit with the Fumos assigned deals burn damage, said unit also gains 1 merit points. Those merit points, we have 2 of them out there. Once you accumulate 4, they will rank up, which increases their damage overall. And so that is the passive here. And then let's go ahead and look at her now basic skill and other skills. So basic attack, playtime, just your basic standard attack. It doesn't really seem to be heavily tied to doing anything in particular for her. You're probably going to want to just continue to use her skills back and forth. And that is because her skills are both 0 Confectance Index costs, but only a 1-turn cooldown, so you can alternate between them. And so we have the first one here, which is a Big Baddie Cleanup. Select one direction in around self, deal AoE burn damage equivalent to 80% of the attack to all enemy targets when in a 3x5 area, which you can kind of see over here, and inflicts overburn. So, just like all the other burn units, she's able to do overburn, which triggers a lot of reactions like Sharkery and all of them. So really nice with that attack right here, although it is a 1-turn cooldown, so we'll kind of have to see how that fits into the mix with the rest of the burn team. You then have a Mystery Fun Ball. Selects the enemy target within an 8-tile radius and deals burn damage equivalent to 140% attack to it. You can kind of see the range out here. Deals fixed damage equal to 30% of the attack to the target and all enemies within a 3-tile radius of it. And then Lewis gains 2 stacks of Fumo's Command from that. And what Fumo's Command is when a Fumo performs a salvo, 1 stack of this effect is consumed and it increases the damage. So basically just an increased damage for them. And you can have up to 6 stacks of this buff. And so that is her second skill. Then you have her ultimate here. This one has a big Confectance Index cost. As you know, you're getting that, you're starting to acquire that as they're doing their counterattacks, I believe. So she's able to get it, but it's going to be fairly slow. So you're not going to be doing her ultimate all that much. Unless you invest a little bit more into, I think, in Dupes to get it quicker. But selects an enemy target within an 8-tile radius and deals a burn damage equivalent to 180% attack to it. Each Fumos then increases their damage dealt by 15% per rank and crit rate by 5% per rank of this attack. So now she's increasing the damage of the Fumos after she does her ultimate. Pretty much whenever it's available, when you have the Confectance Index, you are going to want to do her ultimate so that her Fumos are then also doing more damage themselves. And so that's pretty much her kit. It's a little bit more straightforward than I was seeing originally with the details of the other kit. So it's basically, she summons these 2 little summons, attaches them to your 2 closest burn units when you start the battle. Whenever those burn units use a burn damage attack, they will attack themselves. You get some buffs out of that. And then she has her own attacks that kind of react, like she has Overburn with her AoE. She can do burn damage herself with this, and gaining that Fumos command to increase the Fumos damage. And then you have the ultimate that you're going to want to trigger whenever it happens to increase the damage even more. So it's pretty straightforward on that. But let's go ahead and now look at the common keys here and see how, or not common keys, but the fixed keys and how they can kind of adjust how she works with her kit. So the first one is before each salvo inflicts overburn on the target for 2 turns. I feel like this one will be kind of key, especially for your mono burn team, depending on kind of the order you're wanting to put them in, because you have a lot of reactions for overburn in the other units' kits. One of the big ones would be like Sharkry, where she will do her support action whenever overburn is applied. And so this is a way that you can make it very easy to get all of Sharkry's support actions off herself. You have fixed key 2, modifies the passive effect of Fumo Assembly, allowing it to apply Fumo Assembly even to non-burn attribute dials. So this is the part where I was mentioning that you can kind of adjust this so that it's not just burn specifically. So now they are getting applied to them. If a basic attack or active attack does not deal burn damage, it can still trigger salvo. So it's basically now she can work with non-burn units. But the big negative of this is even though now she can assign them to the non-burn units, they can attack with non-burn attacks, and then those can also still trigger the counterattack. When it comes to the buffs that she's providing out here, like afterburners and all that, it is specific to burn. So while she can work with the other elements, I really feel like she's just not going to be very strong with them because of that. But I haven't really seen anyone talking too much about her within other teams. It's mostly been focused on the burn team themselves. You have fixed key 3 here. The active skill Mystery Funball and Toy Carnival dispels 1 buff to the target, so she has Dispel, which is pretty nice. Situational, but very nice on the Gunsmoke bosses that need it. When attacking an enemy target with Overburn, which if you're using the burn team, should pretty much always have Overburn on, like especially the bosses. Damage dealt is increased by 15% and inflicts a defense down. So now she has defense down built into the kit, which she can utilize for the burn team right here. Fixed key 5, at the start of turn, if there are Fumos on the field with a rank 2 or higher, the range of the active skill, Mystery Funball, and Ultimate skill is increased by 2 points. So now she can attack a farther distance. And then fixed key 6, units with Fumos gain 2 merit points at the end of action. So this is going to help you rank them up quicker. As you know, they need 4 merit points to level up. They get 1 per attack. So with that one, now they get an additional 2, so they can level up per turn with that one. And I didn't actually look at it, but the ranks here. Rank 1, it starts with Lewis burn damage is increased by 10% just for them being out there at rank 1. Rank 2, Lewis's burn damage increases by an additional 15% and crit rate by 10%. And then the final rank 3, before Lewis launches her ultimate skill Toy Carnival, an additional instance of salvo is performed. That additional instance of salvo does not increase Confectant Index nor consume Fumo's command, and it grants Blaze. So the ranking up is basically actually making Lewis herself stronger. So they kind of work together on that when you're wanting to rank them up. But yeah, that's pretty much that. And then the last piece will be on her dupes, which from what I've seen, if you're really wanting to use her, she needs a lot of investment all the way up to basically V6 to kind of get the core of her like big damage out. So we have V1 on Fumo Assembly, increases the base damage multiplier salvo to 120% of Lewis's attack when Fumo casts salvo. If the enemy target has Overburn, the Overburn effect will be triggered a number of times corresponding to the rank. So now you can trigger Overburn a little bit more. It doesn't, I mean, these aren't big numbers and damage increases, and you already have so many other ways to trigger Overburn within the burn team that seems a little less necessary, which you kind of seen with her entire kit, kind of. You have skill 2, Toy Carnival, reduces the Confectant's cost by 2 points. Additional effects are added based on the highest current rank. Higher level effect includes the lower level effects. So now it's only a 4 cost on her ultimate, so she can do that more often. And then now the ranks also give you additional effects. So if the rank 1, you get damage up to rank 2. Now it ignores cover, and in rank 3 increases the damage multiplier to 200% of your attack. So some more damage there, but nothing crazy. That's kind of what we're seeing with a lot of these dupes here. V3 damage multiplier is increased to 160%. Fixed damage multiplier is increased to 50%. Fumo's command effect is modified. It no longer has stacks, so now they just you just have it. So they no longer get consumed, and then salvo lasts for 3 rounds and increases salvo damage by 50% instead. And so it just kind of modifies it for more damage on your salvo attacks from that buff. V4 Big Baddie Cleanup. Damage multiplier is increased by 120% for burn debuff on the target. This attack deals 10 more damage, up to a maximum of 30%. So more debuffs, the more damage it can do with a Big Baddie Cleanup skill. And then we have V5. Each Fumo additionally increases damage multiplier of this attack by 10% per rank. Critical damage is additionally increased by 5% per rank. It's just some more damage overall for Toy Carnival, her ultimate now. And then V6, which is pretty much the big one for her, Fumo Assembly. Assigned at the start of the battle, Fumos has rank 2. So they immediately start as rank 2. There's now also enhancements to the ranks. So rank 2 additionally increases crit damage by 15%, so more crit damage. And then rank 3, at the end of the assigned doll action, unleashes salvo once on the nearest enemy target. But this salvo does not provide blaze. So you get more additional attacks from salvo, but it does not provide blaze and does not restore Confectance Index. So it's not going to like give you crazy ramp up to constantly be doing her ultimate. Because at V6, if you could do that, she would be spamming ultimate a lot with all the extra Confectance Index she's getting. And so that's pretty much her kit. You can kind of see the advice they have up here. V6 is really the only one to target. You either get V0 because you like her, or you go all the way to V6 is basically what they're saying. Now, their explanation up here, I did see in the Discord, they are wrong here. It's where they're kind of saying this salvo contributes blaze, making afterburners buff Kerm sooner. That is a lie. That is not true. So this is a mistake. They misread it. But she still spikes her damage by quite a bit at V6. But I did see that a lot of people are saying kind of discussions, and we'll probably take a look at it here in a future video when they do damage comparisons with her and other burn units. But she doesn't, from what I can tell, contribute all that much more to the burn team. She can fit into the burn team. You can mix and match her with the burn. You'll have to drop somebody else out, as we already have a full team worth of burn units. But she's not like elevating them up at all, really, if you kind of compare them. And like the big thing is she's now a limited unit versus most of the burn team has been pretty free to play. QJ, standard unit. Sharkry, top tier damage, but it's an SR unit. You don't really need Cenarisi. You can use Senia as like your sustain. Works pretty good. And then you have, like when it comes to gun smokes, you can just borrow someone with the Chawa for your shotgun. And there you go. You have the burn team ready to go. And so she's just an additional unit you can kind of put in there to kind of fit another damage dealing role depending on what you do. Anything, if it's a boss that doesn't really need that sustain, you can probably just replace Cenarisi with her. But that's kind of my thoughts on her so far. I'll have to kind of see more videos of her actually in action. I know they're out there. I'll probably do a follow-up video kind of reacting to one and kind of seeing how that works. But we also have, I forgot one thing, last thing is her weapon, the Toy Maker. When exploiting a weakness, ignores 10% of the target's defense. So that one's a generic. Anyone can take advantage of that, which is nice. But when exploiting a burn weakness, additionally ignores another 10%. So it's a 20% defense ignore. Then you have in her main kit, burn damage is increased by 15 up to 30% if 3 or more instances of burn damage is dealt this turn. So that's what's kind of really tying it to her. Burn damage in the next turn is further increased by 10 up to 15%. Now I can say someone like QJ can also take advantage of this. Easily can get 3 damage attacks of doing burn damage. So she can take advantage of that. She can take advantage of that. And she can take advantage of that. So I don't know if this would actually be better than QJ's herself as a weapon. But just kind of to note, it looks like it is very good for her and other burn units as well. But yeah, that's pretty much everything on her. Nothing too crazy. I think she looks pretty good. I think her whole setup's pretty cool. But she really doesn't add anything that foundationally changes the burn team or elevates them to any capacity. Which what we've already seen right now, which we had with Voymastina, making physical crazy good. You have corrosion that's crazy good. Now you have Hydro still crazy good. So burn has kind of fallen off, and they still kind of are at this point. We'll just kind of have to see what they do with the future units. But yeah, I'll just do a future video on her though, kind of reacting to a showcase of her that somebody else has made it on the CN version and actually showing like a V6 and how well she does. But for now, that'll be it. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.